That's a big spinning wheel, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We're on air.
Hello, we are live. Ooh la la.
Yeah. We could also be completely alone. You know.
We're on air, but we're not quite sure if we're alive or not alive, or if we are where we are actually. Yeah. I know I am here, and I think you are there, right?
I am. Let's just get our cameras sorted out. How am I looking?
Okay, I think you're great. Yeah, okay, everything is. Yeah. What about me?
You're looking good,
yeah? Okay, we got it.
Yep, we've got it. We're having people arriving already.
Oh yeah, so people are coming in. Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic. We're trying this out, the connecting webinar jam to Facebook, and we have Gekka. Yes, hi Gekka.
Yeah, good to see you. Glad you're here. Yeah, so this is a first for us. We've got some new technology we're trying out here. So
yeah, we're the. I think we're a little bit of overexcited about this. Or I am when it comes to the techno thing. I go, I can try some new things.
If we are on Facebook Live and you can hear us, and you want to join the webinar, then you'll see links on my Facebook wall or Rúna's, and you can join us live on the webinar. We're actually doing that this very minute at 8 o'clock UK time, 7 o'clock Icelandic time, and God knows what time anywhere else. But
we're not going to go there. It's too complicated.
Always join us in the webinar, or just listen Facebook Live. And what we're going to be doing and talking about is we're going to be looking at the 5 fears that can destroy your relationships or hamper them or give them a bit of a hard time. So we're looking at fears, looking at 5 of them, the 5 main ones that can really mess with your relationships. They're good, aren't you? You've seen the slides, haven't you, Rúna?
I've seen the slides, and I was there were certain fears that came up for me when I saw the slides, to be honest. They were. Do you want me to share that with you?
Your fear was, how will I cover that much material in such a short time?
That was a little bit of my mental going, oh, how is he going to do that? And then there were certain things of like, will they love us? Will they do that? Yeah, there was a little fear there, and just tiny things that came up. But I think this is going to be an awesome webinar anyway, and I'm super excited to be with you on this one.
So as you arrive in the webinar, just say hi and say where you are from. That would be good. That would be really good to know.
And I can see that we have people joining us both on Facebook and in the webinar room. It's a busy time. Yeah, exactly. So I guess that people are coming in, and I can see that there are a bunch of people who are joining in on Facebook, and people are there both on Facebook and then here in our live room. So beautiful and fantastic. Welcome everyone, all of you. Yeah. Great.
So just remind everyone that's just joining us on Facebook, we're going to be talking about the 5 fears that can destroy or disrupt our relationships. And I'm here, Nicholas Haines, with my good friend Rúna Magnús, and we're going to have some good time. It's going to be good.
Yes, we're going to really have a good time. So before we go, anything that we think that would be a good thing for them to know before we head into the content that I was so afraid that would be too long?
We're aiming to keep this. We're aiming for about kind of 35-40 minutes, aren't we, Rúna? That's the plan.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, and doing anything with you, Nick, I know I don't have to aim for anything, but I know it's going to be fun. I know it's going to be insightful, and I know that I'm going to be probably a little bit stunned and thinking about, oh my God, this is so me. But I would like, as well, as I'm going to be in charge of the questions that might pop up, both on our Webinar Jam platform as well as on Facebook. Is it okay, Nick, that I just take down the questions, and as I see them coming, that I will pop them in so that we can have that like a flow? Would that be okay with you?
Yeah. So when something comes in as a question, then you just give it to me and we'll run with it, yeah? Is that what you'd like to? Yeah, absolutely fine. So the big thing here, ask away whatever questions you want. We are here to serve you. Just put in Facebook or on if you're actually live on the webinar, put where you're from, and let's get going. Okay, so Rúna, we're now going to start the first bit of technology, and I'm going to share my screen. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to some slides that I've prepared. So I'm going to share my screen now. There'll be a little bit of whirring. One particular slide, that's not the right one. Here we go. And tell me, Rúna, can you see?
I see those. I sure do.
Good. You see it?
Yep.
Okay, and you can hear everyone. Make sure everyone else can see it, and you can hear me loud and clear. So we are going. Looking good. So we're going to be looking at the 5 fears that can destroy your relationship, and I'm with my good friend Rúna Magnús, and my name is Nicholas Haines. Now let's start by setting the scene. Get some thoughts going here. Now, fear takes many forms. And it's not something to be sniffed at. It can be really serious for how it affects our relationships, how it impacts our life. But there can be a vast range of different sorts of fears. And what we're doing with this on this webinar, we're breaking them down into 5 main groups so you can really get to see where you might be having a fear and how that might be affecting your relationship. Now, we're going to use some ancient Chinese philosophy. We're going to use the 5 energies within ancient Chinese philosophy to help you understand the nature of these 5 fears and where they also come from. Now, you can find out your energy type. You have a particular energy, a particular vitality, an energetic blueprint that you were born with that will predispose you to have slightly more of one fear than another. If you want to find out your energy type, you can for absolutely free. And you just go take the vitality test, and you just go to the vitalitytest.com, and we will ask you a few questions. And from those questions, we will give you your profile, and it will give you an accurate balance of the ratio of these different energies in you. Now, often we have 1 or 2 energies that are more dominant. So this person, you can see their earth energy and their water energy is slightly more dominant. So, which you will understand later why that's very important to know. So if you want to know your energy type, just go to the vitalitytest.com and you can find out for free. In this presentation, don't worry too much about the energies if you don't know them. If you don't know your energy exactly, you'll often be able to start recognizing, think, you know what, this is my fear. That's what I get worried about. That's what I get fearful about. Oh, or this is my partner's fear, or this is what my kids are afraid of. And you'll start to be able to spot other people's energies. So just put in the chat area if you've already taken the vitality test. I'd love to know that. And if you haven't, don't worry, you can take it later. This will still make absolute sense to you. Is it okay, Rúna?
Yep, absolutely great.
Good. Okay. So what we're going to do, there's a nice system that we're going to run with this. We are going to look at a particular fear, one of the 5 fears, and we're going to relate it to a particular energy. Then we're going to look at the 3 different ways, the main ways that this fear tends to show up. It's not every single way, but these are the main ways that we see it showing up time and time again. Then what we're going to do is the big one. We're going to look at solutions. We're going to look at ways that we can help you and support you within your relationships to make sure that these fears don't impact on your relationships, because our relationships are sacred. They get complicated. We get under stress. Lots of different things happen. And it's really good if you can understand these fears. It opens up a whole new aspect to your relationship. And I absolutely know you're going to love this content. So remember, any questions at all, pop them in the chat area. Or if you think, hey, that's me, I do that. Or, hey, that's my partner, they do that. Just put it in the chat area. We would love to know. Okay, so ready for the first one then? You ready, Rúna?
I am. Yep, we're ready.
Here we go. So we're going to look at water energy. Water energy types, their big fear is, am I safe? Is it safe? They have a big thing going on about safety. It is an eternal question, a question that water energy types ask all the time. Oh, is it safe? Am I safe? Will this be okay? What if? What if? They're running with that all the time. Now, in our relationships, that can really start to play out. And let's look at the three main ways that we see that playing out. The first way is over worrying about things and having a very, very active imagination. Now, let's put this in a proper context. It's absolutely okay to ask the question, am I safe? Is it safe? If we didn't ask those questions, we would be running off cliffs, we'd be doing crazy things. So it's okay to ask those questions about safety. But what we're looking at here in terms of how it disrupts and destroys our relationships, if that gets out of hand, water energy types, there is a propensity that am I safe, is it safe, will start to get out of hand. And we'll start to kind of over worrying and imagining all sorts of things. What happens here is it starts to stifle the relationship. It starts to hold things and disrupt things and causing friction. Because if you don't have a lot of water energy, you won't be asking this question, am I safe, is it safe? It'll be an irrelevance for you. But if your partner is asking it all the time, it can start to become a real problem. So it's over worrying and over imagining all sorts of possibilities. Another way that it shows up is the person just becomes silent and actually becomes quite isolated. And what goes on here is actually they are voicing their fears and their worries, but not listened to. And as a result, they just stop speaking. They stop communicating in their relationship. They might be ridiculed because they're always saying, oh, God, you're always worried about this and fearful, etc., etc. So actually they stop communicating. And, in relationships, the blood, the very thing that keeps relationships alive is our ability to communicate together. So a response can be the person just doesn't share anything about what they're worrying about because it's not being heard. The other one that it can show up is there can be a propensity to start to buy a lot of insurance. Now, I think insurance is good. But if you're over insuring, and I've worked with people and their majority of their income is spent on insurance because they're trying to insure against all possibilities. So if you're looking at over-insuring, and also it can be over-insuring that things are okay so you don't actually do anything meaningful. The other one is this idea of testing safety. This is a really classic one that goes on. And within the 5 Institute, we look a lot about how your energies make you test things. So testing for safety would be putting you or your relationship in dangerous situations to get the answer to the question of am I safe and is it safe? So you can find water energy types will test the safety of their relationship by pushing it, test the safety of their environment, their circumstance, their house, all sorts of things to find out the answer to this question of am I safe, is it safe? And that can really be destructive for relationships because you start testing at a very deep level. It starts to risk people's security. So the solutions, what's the best way to really approach this problem when you see this showing up? Now, if you're listening to this on Facebook or Facebook Live or in the webinar, if this is making sense to you or you see this going on, just put, yeah, I've seen this, whatever. Just give us a bit of indication as to whether or not you have seen this or not. Are we getting any other questions coming in, Rúna, at this stage?
No, they're trying. I can see that some of your peeps are trying to get in, but otherwise there are no questions. But the video, the whole webinar is being shared at the moment. So thank you, Marius, for sharing the video, sharing the webinar. Thank you. Yeah, but no questions regarding this. I think I'm not sure if they feel it's safe to ask the question at the moment.
Could be. Let's rock and roll. Let's look at the solutions. And I really apologize to all the people if they're trying to get in and you can't get in. I really apologize. I'm right in thinking this will be recorded for people, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be on Facebook Live. What am I talking about? Okay, the solutions. Let's get onto these solutions. Now, the big one here is as soon as someone with a lot of water energy starts to get tired or exhausted, this is when the fears start to show up. So the big secret is not to get overly tired, not to become too exhausted, because as soon as you start to do that, then the fear of, am I safe, is it safe, starts to appear. So you start to test, you start to ask these questions, you start to get more and more stress within your relationships. Big one, don't get overly tired. Makes a massive, massive difference. Next solution is voice your fears and make them famous. Now, what I mean by that is that sometimes when we actually say our fears and we say them out loud to people, they kind of sound a little bit silly. Now, that doesn't mean your partner can then ridicule you. So if you're with someone and they have this water energy and they're voicing their fears, don't ridicule it. Just kind of listen. Just say, yeah, no, I get that. But the very nature of voicing them starts to depower them. And this will work with any fear. So voice your fears and make them famous. The third thing, this big solution, really important for water energy types, is measure your reserves and your resources. Have a really good idea about what savings you have, how much resources you have, how long you could last if you did your job, lost your job, etc. Measure things and have very clear measurements. Don't have some abstract sense in your head, because if you have that, it will not be enough for you. So measure your reserves and resources, and you can get a good sense of whether or not you feel safe or not. The final thing you want to do is, I use something called conscious questions. And what conscious questions do is they're a question that you ask consciously in order to get a response. When you ask the question, why am I stronger than I think? Your unconscious mind, your imagination, your deep sense of who you are will answer that question, why you're stronger than you think. And the very nature of having those answers will empower you. So those are the three solutions and the conscious question. We're okay with this, Rúna? No questions coming in at this particular stage? Not
at this particular stage, but people are sharing. I love it. Thank you. They're sharing. Yeah.
That's good. Okay, wood energy. Let's look at this next fear. This big one, the fear is about their freedom, their ability. Am I free? Are we free? This whole thing about being trapped. And this is a fear. Wood energy types are fearful that they're going to be trapped or blocked in. The wood energy types, they're the types of people that are all about wanting freedom and freedom lifestyle and doing different things. So if you've got a lot of wood energy in your profile, this is an eternal question for you and a fear about your freedom. Now, how does this show up in our relationships? Well, again, there are three main ways that it shows up. Either you'll be doing this, or if your partner has a lot of wood energy, they will be doing this. You could be also seeing this in your kids and going on. This isn't just about our personal relationships, it's also in our work relationships. All of this can go on. So the first way it shows up is failing to commit or to agree to anything. Because, you agree to something, oh, I'm actually trapped. I've agreed to it, now I've got to do it. Oh, and actually I want my freedom. So this failing to commit or agree to anything is a classic way that this wood energy fear kind of shows up. So if you've seen this going on in people, put down, yeah, I struggle with this, or I see people struggle to do this. This is the thing that goes on when people get to a certain stage in their relationship and they need to take it up to the next level. Wood energy types will be questioning their freedom. Water energy types will be questioning their safety. This stops both the water energy fear of safety and this fear of freedom stops us moving to the next level of anything, and particularly our relationships. The other way it shows up is this testing their freedom and their boundaries. We see this all the time. People say, I don't know why they're doing this. They're all the time testing me. So people will do something like turn up late to a date or turn up late from work. Just stretch things and kind of find ways to find the answer to this question of are they free and do they have their freedom? And then they'll say, oh, I don't have any freedom. You're always trying to control me. But often what they've done is they've created a situation where they're being controlled by testing whether or not they are free. So you've got to really, really kind of watch this. The other way, and we've got loads and loads of examples of ways people try to test their freedom. But think about it. You see this time and time again, people testing whether or not they're free or testing whether or not they're safe. Third one that shows up for wood energy types is the reverse. They actually become over-controlling themselves. So the victim becomes the persecutor. And what happens here is people start to over-control their partner or their friend or their work colleague or whoever as a response to their sense of, am I free? So it's a classic one that goes on. It can be, as you can see with all of these can be really destructive within our relationships if they get out of hand. So what's the solutions? What can we look at? Well, again, we've got three main things and one conscious question. The first one, this is a real big one. Again, it's communication. It's a whole thing is design your life and your relationship together. Because if you have a life that is designed, consciously designed and thought through and making sure you're addressing other people's needs, then you can't get trapped in something you designed because you designed it. So that's a way to have absolute freedom. The second one is to find a combined purpose that's bigger than you. You know, lots of people are really happy to be trapped within situations if it's for something bigger. So often when our kids come along, we have a purpose that's bigger than us. You know, you no longer feel trapped. But if you don't have kids or you're in different relationships or different things are going on, find a combined purpose. If you've got a lot of wood energy or your partner has or your friend has, and that bigger purpose will link you together and freedom becomes less of an issue. Third one, strange one here, take plenty of exercise. Wood energy types are prone to stagnation and stuckness, which is why they hate being trapped and blocked in things. And what's the best way to move stuckness? Take plenty of exercise. Do lots of different things. So lots and lots of exercise, that will really help with these issues around freedom. The conscious question, this question that you ask consciously in order to have that answer, the question is, why is freedom a state of mind? And once you ask that question, the answer is, well, freedom, it is a state of mind because, etc., etc. It gives you an enormous relief from this situation. So it doesn't matter where you appear to be trapped, you're always free because it's just a state of mind. And we've got some brilliant examples over history where people really embrace that philosophy. So there are the fears for wood energy types, how they show up, and these solutions along with this conscious question. We're okay with this, Rúna?
Yeah, I can feel this myself, having all the wood in me.
You know this one. You know that one, did you?
I do.
Yeah. And have you done any of those things? Confession time here.
Confession time live. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I have a lot of wood energy as well. I've tested my freedom. I've done those things. I confess it. So as Rúna and I are doing a bit of confession here, if you've got a lot of wood energy and you've ever done any of those things, then just say, "Yep, I confess."
Yeah, I confess. Please, people, confess with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, we are looking very
Otherwise,
vulnerable.
we're the only one. Yeah, exactly. We know that's not the fact.
That's not good. So let's look at this. Let's look at the next energy. 2 in. We're on to the third one. Fire energy. This big thing, hot, fiery, passionate people, their big fear is, am I loved or do you still love me? So their big fear is about being loved, being appreciated, being seen, loved, held. And this is an eternal question that they have going on and a fear that this isn't happening. So how does this show up? Well, again, there are three main ways. One of these is constant questions of, oh, do you love me? Do you love me? Is that good? Is that nice? Is that good? It's just constant questions. And I once went out with someone who had an awful lot of metal energy. And metal energy are very matter of fact and to the point. I was younger. I have lots of fire energy as well as wood energy. So I asked the question, "Do you love me?" And she said, "Yeah, I do." And it was a passionate relationship. She was very good. And then a little bit later, I asked it again, and she looked really, really puzzled. And she said to me, I told you a month ago I did. Yeah. So you know what? There's constant questions. If this is your energy and this is showing up for you, and someone doesn't have this energy, then the constant question, you do love me, can start to become an issue. Not for you. Put two fire energy types together, and they're always going, "Oh, love you. Yeah, love you too. Love you. Love you." It's constant. Constant questions. Do you love me? Yeah, love you. Do you love me? There you go. Get a room. Shut up. This is enough. So you've got to know who you're with. So you find out take the vitality test, your partner, your business people, your relationship, just take it. It's free. It's for the world and it's a gift for free. So shows up constant questions. The next one, this testing again. Testing is love is still there. Creating a little bit of an argument, withdrawing, not speaking. Oh, are you all right? Oh, yeah, I'm all right. I just didn't think you cared. Yeah, of course I cared. I'm just busy. Then there can be very destructive ways of testing whether the love is still there. And like I said, it could be withdrawing your love or doing something difficult or whatever to find the answer to that question of, am I loved and do you still love me? And this is your need, then you've got to watch it. It can be very destructive for relationships, particularly the testing. This next one, this third one, is you see this going on. And again, it is the big thing because they're trying to answer this question of, am I loved? And this big question. The number 3 is securing love elsewhere. Going and finding love from other people, from people that tell you that they love you. And that can turn into affairs and relationships. Fundamentally trying to deal with your fear as to whether or not you're loved. So securing love elsewhere.
I like the comment that Helga is coming up with. She says, I hate committing to something I'm not passionate about. I'm wood and fire.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love that. I love that. Not being trapped in something you're not passionate about. And nobody should be. Nobody should. Yeah. We can create a world where everyone is trapped in their biggest passion. What a good world that would be for the people that love to be. Exactly. So this big thing, securing love elsewhere, testing love, constant questions, it might seem cute at times, and it is cute at times, but it can put a strain on a relationship. If it isn't, you don't understand your partner and what's going on, this can put a real strain. The conscious question, the solutions that I would suggest for you are, ready for these? Here we go. First one, anchor and appreciate the answers. Okay. Fire, people with a lot of fire energy. Think about fire. Fire is in the moment, it's instant, and then it's gone. And them hearing that they're loved is instant in the moment, and then it's gone. Unless you actively anchor in that word. So when someone says they love you, what I do is I put my hand on my heart and I say, thank you. And the very action of pressing it to my heart, it anchors it in. And then if I'm not feeling loved, oh my God, it's all these confessions. If I'm not feeling loved, I put my hand on my heart and I feel the love. Okay, so anchor in and appreciate the answers, because particularly if someone is not a fire energy type, it really means something when they say, I love you. It's not flippant, but anchor it in. Number 2, this is a really important one, recognizing that testing is not loving or kind. If you are in a kind and loving relationship, your need to find out whether you're loved, and if that involves testing, is not loving and it's not kind. And you know what? We sometimes have to own our shit. We have to own our stuff and just recognize what we're doing. And we have choices within all of this. The whole point of us teaching and sharing this is to give you choices, give you awareness, choices, and the ability to act differently and more appropriate in order to build deep and loving and balanced, meaningful relationships. The third one is grow your inner love muscle. Love is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the more you work it, the more you strengthen it. And we're talking about inner love. Yep, we're talking about you loving you. And it's really important to strengthen that muscle, to practice you loving you. Because you know what? If you love you, then there's always someone there to love you. And I used to kind of joke with my clients, particularly they had a lot of fire energy. I used to say, you know what? I love you more than you love yourself. And that's pretty goddamn sad. So we used to do some work on it. So a lot of fire energy, work on your own inner love muscle. Conscious question. Why am I lovable and happy to be me? Imagine that you asking that question, and the answer that comes back, why am I happy? Why am I lovable and happy to be me? Think of those answers, how that would make you feel. Okay, we're good with this?
Yeah, I am. I'm a little bit afraid, but yeah.
Now, so Rúna and I, with our fire energy, we're now thinking, oh dear, I hope people like this. we don't have to be loved. We're cool. We own our shit. We're fine.
I'm practicing my inner love love button. Yeah, I'm practicing that. Yeah.
You know what? The important thing for us with this is that this information allows you to have better relationships with your kids, your partner, with your work colleagues. It's the whole point of this, and recognizing this stuff. Okay, earth energy. Their big fear is, am I understood and do I understand? They're really worried and fearful. Oh, I'm not understood. You don't understand me. I don't understand what's going on. And it creates a real fear and a panic. Now, if you don't have lots of wood energy, you're thinking, well, a lot of earth energy, then you think to yourself, what, they get all anxious and fearful because they don't understand. Yeah, it can send earth energy types into a blind panic. Anxiety attacks. It's a big fear. If they don't understand, it rocks their world. Okay, how does it show up when someone has a lot of earth energy and they have this fear? How does it show up in our relationships? Well, it does it again in three main ways. The first one is needing to discuss everything in massive detail. Well, could we just, we talked about it, but I kind of want to could we just run it by one more time? Because there's something I didn't quite understand a bit that you said. And when you said that, did you actually mean this? Or did you mean, and the other person is going, oh, for God's sake, just drop it. All I said was, I didn't want any potatoes because they give me wind. I don't need to have big discussions. But I just need to understand, is it me, the way I cook them? So this is how it shows up, going into massive detail. I've got some good friends that both have a lot of earth energy, and they love to discuss everything in mass. It's their idea. We go away together to talk about our stuff. Great. If you've got earth energy type together, that's fine. But with different profiles, the other person's saying something different. So you've got to be considerate. The other way it shows up, classic one here, is over-supporting others and not asking for help. And this is kind of testing. This is saying, oh, let me do lots for you. Let me help you because I understand what you need. And I'm not going to ask for help because I want to test whether or not you understand what I need. And they do all this over-supporting others and not asking for help. And then they turn around and say, I'm exhausted. No one ever offers me any help. I'm all by myself. I'm doing everything for everyone else. And no one just says, are you all right? I just don't feel understood.
I have a brilliant comment here from Helga again, who said in the beginning when you started with the earth energy, can you repeat the question?
That's a bit.
That's a good one.
Okay. Third way that it shows up is when earth energy types get under stress, they undereat or they overeat, one or the other. Or they might overeat and then under it bounces around. Or they might get indigestion, they might get knotted up inside or chewed up inside, and that's what goes on. So you might not see the overeating, you might not see this over-discussing or the over-supporting. You might just find that the person in the relationship is starting to under or overeat because they are not feeling understood or understand. Now, Princess Diana, classic situation. That's what happened in that marriage. She has lots of earth energy. She didn't understand what was going on, didn't feel understood, and we saw all the big eating issues. Solutions, what can we do here? Okay, first one is, we're back down to energy. Don't get overtired. As soon as you get overtired, all of these fears get worse. And if you get overtired or you don't eat, it's another classic one for earth energy types, overtired and overeat, then you will start to do that. So don't get overtired. And if you are tired or you're hungry, limit the talking time. Limit the amount of time you're going to talk, because when you're tired, you will talk forever about what you're trying to understand, and you'll get more tired and therefore need to talk more. And then you think in the morning the person you were talking with is exhausted, and you can't and you that were doing it can't really remember what you were talking about or why you needed to. And it causes big, you know what, I spoke to you for hours last night and you haven't said thanks, and now you've forgotten all about it. So don't get overtired, don't get hungry, and if you are, limit the time you're going to talk. Be considerate to other people, because you will be able to talk forever. Second solution, ask for help and what you need. People cannot guess. Don't play games, don't test, don't make them guess. Just tell them. Sometimes very difficult for Earth Energy types to ask for help. But imagine if you did ask for help and what you needed, then it really helps us. People understand you because you told them what it is. Really important. Then the third one I love, arrange happy meals with minimal distraction. People with a lot of Earth energy, they love meals, they love food, they love conversation, but sometimes they can put pressure on the family to sit down and eat together. And imagine the kind of a wood energy child that feels trapped at the dinner table, wants to get away, certainly doesn't want to talk, and you've arranged a meal that is a pressure. So think about how the meal can be happy. Come up with different ideas to have a happy, joyful, fun meal with minimal distraction. Perhaps turn the television off. Often people do that. Often people have that going on. Conscious question, really, really helpful, this one. Why do things often become clearer over time? So you're panicking, you're fearful, you're worried, you're stressing your relationship. Just ask the question, why do things often become clearer over time? It will relax you, I absolutely promise you. Okay, we're into the last energy now. The big fear, metal energy type. Rúna, have we got any questions, or are we people doing okay with this?
I think they are. I can see comments about they loving the recognizing the constant questions, and Marius is talking about as well that how much he's been learning about himself by knowing the vitality test and knowing things about it. So yeah, we're getting some good comments on that.
And Marius is one of our interpreters. He's a master at helping people interpret their vitality test profile, as you are, Rúna. You're some of the real key people in the world that can understand this stuff. So big metal energy, their big fear is something that's missing, something isn't complete, something isn't there. And again, if you don't have this energy, you'll think, well, you're fearful that something's missing. Well, just look and you can see. This is a feeling, guys. This is a feeling that these people have, that something is missing and something isn't complete. And it creates a fear within the relationship that, you know what, our relationship, this feels something missing, and I'm kind of worried it's going to end, or something isn't going to end up complete. So how does this show up? Again, we've got three main ways. First one is this constant searching for what's missing, or a drive for perfection. If I can get things really perfect and keep things really, really good, then it will feel complete. It will feel like nothing's missing because it is perfect. But going for a constant search for what's missing or a drive for perfection puts pressure on your relationship. Because you know what? Some things are becoming perfect, not perfect. Some things will be revealed and are not there yet. But with metal energy types, they will have a sense that something is missing, and therefore they will search for it. And guess what? If you search for something, you find it. So if you're searching for what's missing, you will find what's missing. That doesn't mean and that can destroy relationships. So be aware, if you've got a lot of metal energy, you will be searching for what's missing. It's a fundamental core fear. It's a fundamental question you have. And you will be able to find it in your relationship. The response by metal energy types when they find something missing and it isn't there is they leave. So again, you've got to own this stuff, recognize that it can go on. The next way it shows up is becoming withdrawn or isolated, starting to withdraw from the relationship or becoming more isolated in yourself because there is a discomfort that's building up there. There's a caveat here. There's a side note here. Metal energy types like to withdraw and be isolated. That's how they get more energy. That's how they cut off from things. So if your partner, your kids have a lot of this metal energy, If you're not sure, get them to take the vitality test. If they've got a lot of this metal energy, them becoming withdrawn or isolated is their way of recharging themselves. But it's when it becomes excessive that it's a problem. So remember, you could have someone with a lot of metal energy and a lot of fire energy. One person becomes isolated, withdrawn. The other person saying, "Do you love me? Do you love me?" It's not a recipe, unless you understand your two energy types and you say, "Okay, I recognize why they're withdrawing, and I recognize why they're wanting to find out whether or not they're loved." Okay, own your stuff and recognize it with other people. Third way that it shows up is people feel lonely and sad. There is a deep sadness sometimes, a longing, a missing, a sense of loss for metal energy types when they're really deep into this sphere. They can feel quite lonely with it. They might not say, but they can feel quite lonely with it. So it's not an easy, for all these fears when we're living them with them, they're not easy things. Solutions, really, really simple. Some 3 great solutions, slightly surprising, but great solutions. The first one, metal energy types, do some form of breathing exercise, some breath-based meditation. It is, I won't go into the energetic reason, but if metal energy types do breathing, sound, singing, breath-based meditation, it starts to dissipate this fear that something is missing because they're taking in all this beautiful oxygen, all this beautiful air. And this also accounts for this next one. Spending time outside, ideally in clean, fresh air, it counters this sense of things that are missing. And it really helps your relationships to be outside in fresh air, to move. And hey, say you're with someone with a lot of wood energy and they need to move and take exercise, then do it together. You'll feel that things are complete. They'll feel that things are moving. And it tends to work well. The third solution is measure what you have. Metal energy types like to measure, often with numbers. So measure what you have wherever possible. And be grateful for what you love. This whole thing of gratitude is really, really important. It feeds it. It's like a muscle. The more grateful you are, the more you feel you have, the more you notice, the more complete you feel. And then if you need to measure stuff that you have, okay? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love me? Okay, that's not bad. That's what my metal energy girlfriend. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think this relationship is going? And I said, well, I think it's going swimmingly. No, Nick, I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think this relationship is going? Oh, I think it's 8. And she said, well, I think it's 2 and I'm leaving. That was actually seriously how our relationship ended. But I'm with someone very perfect now, as you know, Rúna, as you know. But that's how it ended. On that side note, conscious question. What am I grateful for? Ask this question, what am I grateful for? And that tells you all the things that are there and not all the things that are missing. Okay, so that's our last energy we've been through. We're just going to do a big a final wrap up with this. Okay, these are some guidelines for everyone. It's about kindness and flowing with any fear. First one, recognize that we're all different and we have different fears. Do not dismiss your partner's fear as strange and odd. Their fear is their fear and it will have an impact, okay? Understand how a fear affects you and what you can do about it. You need to take responsibility, own your stuff, and watch that you don't get tired. Watch that you don't get hungry. Watch that you don't get stressed. All the different things. Take exercise. Do all the things. This slides are a blueprint to making this work. So understand how it affects you and know what to do about it. The final one is keep your energy reserves up and choose kindness. If you choose kindness, we have this big thing at the 5 Institute of I choose kindness. You have this action to actively choose to be kinder. It really will act as glue within your relationships. And like I said, keep your energy reserves up. Really, really important for every energy type. A couple of conscious questions. Ask you when you're in a difficult situation, what's the gift within this situation? What's the benefit? And the final conscious question is, how can I be kind to myself and others at this time? So if things are just going a bit thing and you've been caught a bit off guard by these fears or your partner doesn't quite think, then just say, how can I be kind to myself and others at the time? Or what's this gift from this situation? And your unconscious mind will tell you. Okay, so that is the end of that content. So I'm going to turn off my screen. I'm going to turn on my video, and I'm back again.
We're back.
Okay.
Exactly.
There we go.
Yeah. You just about did it.
Yeah, just about. We
just about managed to do it in the time that we were talking about. Well done, you. Well done. Really well done. I have a question.
Okay.
One of the things that I was thinking about as you were going through this, and I know this pretty well. So, like, I have very little earth, just tiny bit. So, and I know that's my tendency of like, oh, are you going to be there forever and ever? You know, how am I going to really explain this? So how would you say that I could, on top of what you just talked about, but how could I really embrace that thing? Because quite frankly, it actually can irritate me when I'm with people that are there. You know, I can really go, oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you could ask what you could say. You could ask the conscious question: what's the deeper benefit to knowing this? Because I think what you're doing is your fire energy and your wood energy, you're really quick and you're really fast and you're running on the surface. But actually, there is something deeper to this. So asking the question, what's the deeper benefit to knowing this? And the very nature of asking that question will make you appreciate that there is a deeper benefit than, okay, got it, done it, know it, move on, bang. Pausing yourself down. Is that helpful?
Yeah, very helpful. I'm going to see if there are any questions before we go, and we can see how people can even. I already shared how they can take the vitality test if they have not. And like Magnús has been talking about here in the chat area, all about, you know, the outcome of it and how fantastic this tool is. I mean, I'm using this with all of my clients, and I'm using this with groups, with executive boards, of how they can work better together by understanding each other's vitality, and it is absolutely amazing. But saying that, I am, if there are no questions, I just believe that there's quite a lot of people that have been joining us and with us, and I'm super thankfully grateful for everyone that shared the content, because I think this is something that we can all relate to, and we're all in one relationship or another, and we need to be able to get the most out of the relationship and bring in the most that we possibly can.
And the vitality test is free, and it's free for a reason, because it is life-changing. It is life-changing for people when they get to understand things level. I work with people, we have saved marriages, business, relationship with kids, we've saved lives. People were going to kill themselves based on this, the fact that they had a confusion on this stuff. So share it. It's free, and it's free for a reason, because it does fundamentally change lives. When you take the vitality test, you'll get an invite to our Facebook group where we can ask all sorts of questions. So at this particular stage, I mean, and you can also in the Facebook Live, I think you can be posting up questions, and we'll check in with those questions afterwards in case.
There's one really good question coming up here.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so it's Marius who says, sometimes it feels unnatural to take the vitality test when I'm dating. Any ideas on how to introduce it, and in relationships? You're like, hey, I want to date you. Could you please take that test first? I mean, would you do that, or how would you go about that? Yeah,
well, there's a number of different ways you can do it, but the fundamental thing is the vitality test allows you to understand someone else. It allows you to work out what makes them happy. It allows you to keep them. I mean, we're going to talk about it very short. We've got an event that we're running in Iceland, and one of the things we look at is the happiness zone, how you can stay in your happiness zone. And it is my responsibility to make sure my wife is living in her happiness zone. And it's her responsibility to make sure that I'm living in my happiness zone, as well as my own responsibility and her. But so with people, you tend to just kind of say, look, this is a way that I can really understand you, to make sure that I support you, look after you, and how you can understand me. I wouldn't necessarily do it at the first, as in the vitality test. I wouldn't necessarily do it on the first date. But you can bring it up. But Marius, you can also bring it up because you are one of the only people trained in the world in this stuff currently, to the depth that you're trained. And as part of your conversation, if they're interested in you and what you do, then they're going to take it. If they're not interested in what you do, then they're not going to take it.
True.
That's fine. Yeah. My wife, she loves me and she loves that I'm happy in what I'm doing, but she says it's a bit like being married to a vicar and not believing in God. Yeah, that's cool. But I can still use my understanding of how she is to support her and recognize actually she needs to have some food and I need to ask, what can I do for you? That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah. So she doesn't take it and we don't discuss it, but I use the information to support her, and I use the information about myself to make sure when I'm tired, I don't start testing our relationship by doing silly things.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to do that because I know she has a lot of water and that's going to be out of this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, cool. Nick, we're just about to invite people to be with us in Iceland, aren't we?
Yeah. Oh God, I'm so excited about this one. We have been planning, working out how we can put on an absolute stunning event for people. Should I just share with people just a few details for people about this event, because it is a.
Who wants to go to Iceland?
Who wants to come to Iceland?
Yeah, who wants to come to Iceland?
Great place to do it. So
I'm gonna take the camera.
So we're inviting you all to come to Iceland on Saturday, 21st of October, and it's going to be in Reykjavik, and we're going to be running an event called Unlocking the Relationship Code for healthy, happy, and empowering relationships. Now, this could be with your partner, it could be with people you work with, it could be with your kids, it could be with anything. And what we've done here is we've taken just a little bit of a snippet. We've taken just a little bit out of that day and played with it. But we're going to have a whole day unlocking how their relationships are built up. It's an absolute stunning day. What we're going to do is we're going to look at why the difference between men and women isn't actually the issue. And when we go through this content, people say, oh, it's because they're a man, because they're a woman, because they're this. If you're in opposite gender relationships, and often it isn't about men, it isn't about women, it's about something else. And this is a real eye-opener when you start to see things in energy terms and how we are. It gives utter freedom for people to be themselves and not get trapped in there I am talking. That's wood energy talk, wouldn't it? Give people freedom not to get trapped.
Exactly. Very important for you and me.
Very important. But this is a really important one for you to be yourself. In the day, we're going to really look at points of friction, where stuff starts to build up, and points of friction cause heat, stagnation, stuckness, destruction. And we're going to show you how to see these points of friction before they become a problem, and how to just smooth them over. This is about having healthy, happy, and empowered relationships, no matter who's it with. We're going to show you how to find and live in your happiness zone at home or at work. You can apply this in all sorts of different ways. We're going to be digging deep into 3,000-year-old Chinese secrets for modern, loving, and lasting relationships. And this can be with anything. And guess what? This could be a loving and lasting relationship with yourself. How about that? We're going to look some more depth at the 5 fears that destroy your relationships and how to block them. We're going to look at what happens when you have one energy mixing with another. So we're going to take some of this content we've done and just play with it some more. It's going to be absolutely stunning. We're going to look at some work that Rúna's doing with your X Factor, this special bit of you that makes you different, and how to find the X Factor, how to look at your X Factor, how to love it, how to embrace it within your relationships. Because imagine if 2 people together that kind of knew their what's special about them, they were in their happiness zone, they knew their fears, the points of friction, and it just is stunning for our relationship. This is a brilliant day that we've got planned. There is an absolute, no question asked, money back guarantee. If you come to the event and you think, no, this has not been worth it, then absolutely 100%, every bit a penny is paid back to you. We're not interested in your money. We're interested in changing your life. We have a kind of crazy offer at the moment, which finishes tomorrow. And that is a single ticket, $137, and then a lot of Icelandic krona. Well, it's not really a lot of it. It's a great price, but you can. It's even better. You can get 2 tickets for $187. So you get full day for 2 people, refreshments for people, all the course material, and we are encouraging lots of people that have booked are getting these 2 tickets special offer. Okay, those are early bird, and they'll be there, and we'll keep those available right the way through the end of play tomorrow. So you've got lots of time to think about it. And then afterwards, they're going to go up to the full ticket price of $187 for a single ticket and $275 for a 2 ticket. So you can see that early bird thing is pretty well taking off nearly $100 off the price of that ticket. The whole point of this event is it is a totally unique event. You won't have heard or seen content like this before. I absolutely promise you, and it will serve you and your loved ones all of your life. And this is our aim in the event, and that's what we utterly plan to do, to make sure it's unique. You won't have seen anything before, and it will serve you and your loved ones all of your life. So come to Iceland. Rúna, if you don't live in Iceland, the flights are cheap, aren't they? Crazy, aren't they?
Crazy cheap, yeah. I think there are about 15 flights a day from UK to Iceland.
Yeah.
Alone, not to talk about all the other destinations, yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy prices, easy prices to get there. It's in and out dead quick. So if you're interested in this event, or you think someone else could benefit from being here, here's a link for it. It's bit.ly, www.bit.ly/Nick and Rúna. And I think, Rúna, you're going to put it in the chat area.
Yeah, it's already there.
And we'll put it in the thing. And if we would absolutely love and adore to see you there.
Yeah, so, we definitely will. And not only will we adore it, we're going to have so much fun. There you are. Yeah. We're going to have so much fun together. And I know that it's going to be a transformative event for everyone, including us.
It's not about you and me having lots of fun, which we are going
to. We kind of always do that, don't we?
Yeah. But we're going to transform people's relationships.
Yes,
and you can use this with your kids. You can use it with work. This is a lifetime. This is a lifetime training, and we're putting our heart and souls and everything in to make this a big difference. And we know it will make a massive difference for everyone's there. So come out if you live in Iceland. Come along. If you don't live in Iceland, fly out there and join us for the day. It's going to be truly wonderful. So I want to just wrap up now by saying thank you to everybody that's been watching this. This is on the webinar. You see lots and lots of people here, and all your comments and different things that you've said. Thank you very much. If you're listening and watching this on Facebook Live and you're live watching it, thank you so much for being here all this time. I hope it was valuable to you. I'm sure it was. And if you're watching this as a replay, you missed the party. But you can still come to Iceland and get all the goodies. We've got loads of goodies there. And then finally, I just want to say, Rúna, thank you very much for inviting me to talk about this and the webinar, to help set it up and to be there.
Oh, believe me, the pleasure was mine. I learned, like always, something that was very valuable to me, and I know it has been valuable for others. So see you on October 21st, and I can't wait to see you in Iceland.
Yeah, no, I love Iceland.
Iceland awaits you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So it's bye-bye for now?
Yeah, bye-bye for now. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.